Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 26. This is round number 12, and we go home here to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix. But before that, we'll be revealing some Season 27 exclusives. My name is Jess, and joining me in the commentary box tonight, as always, we've got Dan.
Hello everyone, hi Jess, cannot wait for this Grand Prix tonight, and I cannot wait to make the announcement, of course, today.
Yep, indeed. Today is obviously the 26th of October, where we'll be giving all the information you need to sign up. Later on tonight, you'll also find out when the dates will be for signing up for the league for season 27. We both had a look at the calendar before showing it to you today, and to be honest, it's got a good mixture of tracks on the calendar. Well, I'm not going to give too many clues, but it's designed to challenge the drivers as well and also have a little bit of fun, and designed to have the most overtaking. Maybe we'll find out why these guys, well, the people who have chosen the tracks, maybe in the launch show next season. But without further ado, I'm going to do the honours on switching over the scenes to reveal what the calendar is. Now, the calendar starts on, basically, the first round is at the beginning of December, so very, very soon after season 26, pretty much a month, almost just under a month actually as well. So it's not much of a break between seasons, which is great to see. PSGL is very, very keen to get the season underway. So we start off in Australia. The last time Australia was the opening round of PSGL was season 23. And in F2 at least, Cliffy won that race in the Williams. Cliffy, also known as Tony, if Tony's still watching this. The second race on the 8th to the 14th of December, we go to Silverstone in Great Britain. We were also here this season as well. It was definitely quite a close one, I've got to say. We also go to Belgium in round 3, for the 15th to the 21st of December, the last race before we go on our Christmas break. And that was where we did our evaluation races in season 26. So a familiar round for the drivers. And that was a round where we also saw Will in F2 take a surprising victory, and it was great to see. Round 4, we come back after our Christmas break from the 5th to the 11th of January, where we go to the Circuit Paul Ricard in France. Then we go to Monaco for round 5 from the 12th to the 18th of January. The 19th to the 25th of January, we go to round 6 in Monza, which I'm really looking forward to. I always like Monza. That should be a classic. It's been in quite a few PSGL seasons. And then the second half of the season, we go to Russia in Sochi from the 26th of January to the 1st of February. Then we go to Singapore for round 8 from the 2nd to the 8th of February. Round 9, we go to the United States of America from the 9th to the 15th of February. Then we go to Mexico, where it's hosted the Race of Champions a few times as well, and it hosted the season finale one time. I can't remember which season, but I'll have to double check on that. Round 11, 23rd of February to the 1st of March in Abu Dhabi. And the final round is Japan on the 2nd to the 8th of March. Obviously, the earlier part of the dates are for the lower tiers, and for the latter part of the dates is for the top, well, basically the top tiers as well. Japan was the last time it hosted the season finale was season 20, I think it was season 22. But it didn't even happen. So what do you think of the calendar, Dan?
Well, I certainly think it's definitely going to throw a spanner in the works. Some drivers, some tracks that they wouldn't have expected to be on the calendar, and they might not be as good as they are at some of the others. But it's definitely going to be a very technical calendar, and some drivers we might see excel at some tracks, but then kind of fall short at other ones. So you might be really quick around Great Britain and Belgium, but then when it comes to tighter circuits like Singapore and Monaco, you can struggle there. So it definitely can be one to cause a lot of excitement in the season next time out.
And looking at that calendar, we've got 2 street circuits, which, I mean, for some drivers, they're probably going to hate it, but I've got to say, in my opinion, out of the 4 street circuits we have on the game, Singapore and Monaco, I just got to say, I do prefer those tracks over Vietnam and the Baku, that was it. So, to be honest, it's a bit of a relief that those other 2 tracks are on the calendar. Let us know what you think in the chat and what you think about the calendar. Are there any tracks you like, any tracks you dislike? There's some tracks I don't like, some tracks I really, really do like. I've got to say my favourite one, I've got to say, is Belgium. We always like the Belgian Grand Prix, one of my favourites on this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone really does enjoy the Belgian Grand Prix, but then I think I'm going to say that my favourite track on that one is going to be Great Britain. You know, I just think it's an incredible circuit. It's got so much history. And tell you what, though, an underrated circuit on that calendar is France. I think France is a really great track. Shoot me if you would like to, but I think it is an incredible circuit.
I've got to say, I hated it in the past, but on this game, it's a lot better. I find it a little bit more fun, mainly because I usually do no rules around France, but it feels strange to drive in the actual circuit. But anyway, if you want to find out more information about sign-ups, make sure you check the PSGL Twitter at PlayStation_GL, where sign-up dates will be released. It will be after the 8 PM stream, to after the PSGL F1 and F3 streams are done. That is when the big boss is going to be revealing the dates for when you guys can sign up. And for the ones that have taken part in Season 26, may get a little bit of a head start of signing up for next season. So a little bit of a hint there. But anyway, enough about Season 27. Season 26 has not finished yet. We are about to go to the track, and the one I'm very, very looking forward to, and shoot me if you don't like this track, it's one of my favourite tracks on the game. So it has quite a few DRS zones on the circuit, 2 DRS zones, one towards turn 5 and 6 and one towards turn 8 and 9, and there's one at potentially the start finish straight as well. And I'll do a quick run through of the driver's standings before we go to qualifying. So Tomato could potentially be champion here tonight if basically if the gap between him and second place is 34 points or more. If it's 34 points or more, Tomato will be champion. And then we've got Greeny in second, Faz in third place, Dario in fourth, Will in fifth place, CT Brain in sixth place, Akita in seventh, Haller in eighth, Pat in ninth, Name Changer in 10th. Then we've got Emotti, Big C, Skivan, Bugatti, Compassion, Benny, Gonan after a great result, getting more points for Red Bull, double point scoring for Red Bull. And then we got Kurat on 9 points, and actually no, wait a minute, Kurat did not get 9 points. I've did the standings wrong, I do apologise. So Kurat on 2 points, Cedric on 1 point, with Luke yet to score. So Dan, let's go straight to the circuit, and we still got some times already up on the board and a few invalidations. So I think it's going to be a test for the drivers to see if they can actually get a lap without kind of corners.
Yeah, this track really is challenging with the track limits. There's so many places where you can run off but just go a little bit too deep and they're getting invalidation. So they really do have to tiptoe around the lap, and sometimes that can make them lose a lot of time. But looks like Hadler and Big C have found their way around the circuit. Hadler currently on pole position at the moment with a 108.2 there. But we've got some more drivers coming through at the last couple of corners. There's a racing point of Chapelelli. He goes to the top, and then M Short and with a 107.7.
Wow.
And I think that's going to be a nice segue into our new reserve, being M Shorty, replaced Josh as a reserve because Josh hadn't turned up for quite a long time. So we've got a new reserve in M Shorty. Of course, Marcus at the moment, he's filling in for one of the McLaren drivers of either Luke or Cedric. We've only got 16 drivers and neither McLaren did turn up. So it is M Short carrying the torch for the McLaren team. But I've commentated over him in other leagues, and he's just been promoted to the top division. And I tell you what, he's already made his claim to be one of the fastest drivers. And I definitely think that he could take a challenge to some of these guys in the F2 grids.
I think he can, to be honest. We thought that Cedric in Spain could take a challenge to his rivals there as well, him being reserve, and also in Great Britain as well. But there was a few occasions where he was a little bit inconsistent. Maybe M Short could surprise you with that as well. So a few more people are setting lap times. We're trying to find someone who we can take on board a hot lap. But we're riding on board with Name Changer at the moment. Name Changer has just invalidated his lap, so that is not good. Name Changer, last week's race winner, after an incredible performance around the last track we were in, which was Bahrain. Some great moves as well, great strategy calls, and he has jumped all the way to 10th in the standings. He was near the bottom of the standing before Bahrain, but after last week, he is still within a shot of getting some midfield positions. And to be honest, Red Bull needed that after a poor showing to the season so far, except for Bahrain, where they did absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Red Bull really just haven't been on top of it this season, and at the moment, after round 11, which was Bahrain, I do believe that they are still at the bottom. I do tell a lie, it's actually McLaren that they've now jumped. Now McLaren only on 24 points throughout the entire season. They haven't scored since Spain, so they're really on the back foot a little bit here, but Red Bull, that is what they needed, and I think that Name Changer can carry that momentum forward and maybe even inspire Gonanen to also put in a shift and bring that Red Bull team further up in the standings. They're still within reach of the teams of the likes of Racing Point and Haas and Mercedes. All those guys, they can still jump by the end of the season. So I definitely think that Red Bull are in a strong position now. Gonan and Olin Black at the moment, he looks pretty strong through his run so far, unless I am being told a lie. 40 points too through the second sector. Big lock-up, runs deep through the hairpin, so might have cost him a little bit of time there, but still he's on a pretty flying lap at the moment. Could be in the reaches of the top 5.
Yeah, exactly. Gonanen was actually purple sector 1 as I was watching on board his lap, so he needs a really good final sector in order to make up for it. Oh, that was so close. That could have been worse as he almost hit the wall of champions. He comes across the line now, 107.605. That puts him into pole position. His final sector was absolutely fantastic. Not that far clear of M Short in second place. And to be honest, the ones who are near the bottom of the championship, they could possibly make a statement, try and stir up the championship a little bit and make the championship even closer to stop the big boys like Tomato and also Faz as well, and even Greeny score big, because potentially these are the guys that are still in the championship fight. It's pretty much close since Rafa left the league, and that's just getting very, very exciting. Now, speaking of Greeny, actually, I think Greeny still has a good shot of actually keeping his championship hopes alive after tonight. He's getting some good podiums recently, as of late, being very, very consistent, and that could help him go near the top of the standings. Where there was a few times where Toxic didn't score really well. Toxic's been in the points pretty much every race, and the only time Greeny has not been in the points was a DNF in Bahrain, unfortunately. So he definitely needs to luck out here today.
Yeah, he is a little bit far off at the moment. 31 points off of the Ferrari car. Sorry, the Williams car. I'm losing track of my words. I'm trying to look at my phone, see the standings. But he does need to really pull his socks off and hope that Toxic Tomato doesn't have any good results for the rest of the season, which is going to be hard to do, judging by the fact that Cameron's in 4th position at the moment in qualifying. So really, it is not looking the best for Greeny, but he's certainly still in the hunt for it as Name Changer crossing the line. Red Bull 1 and 3 at the moment. They're doing really well, and I think our little theory of them having a bit of a boost in confidence is really paying off. They were just a little bit off of a front row lockout, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Remember where there was a few seasons ago where Mercedes were very, very strong and Red Bull just turned it up towards the end of the season? This is probably potentially what we're seeing. They got used to the F1 2020 game, that's for sure. They've been taking part, Name Changer has been taking part in the Trovo League as well, so he's got a lot more experience racing against the likes of obviously the IGK boys, the BGG boys, the CRG boys and the VSR boys as well, who have done so well. The CRG boys especially were on top of their game in Singapore last time about, and they're probably going to be the ones to beat when you watch it on Wednesday. And Name Changer absolutely loving being a part of that anyway, as Shapalili has left the session. That is not very good so far. Lakitu is just going on a lap as well as he makes his way into, I can't remember what turn it is. I need to get my turns right, but excuse me, but there's quite a lot of overtaking opportunities around this circuit, and one of the only circuits where a 2-stop is a lot faster than the 1-stop due to the undercut and the short pit stop loss. You're only going to lose about 14 to 16 seconds in the pit lane, 16 and a half to be exact.
Yeah, and a lot of that is due to the fact that the pit lane actually spits you out just but after the second turn, so it pretty much cuts out the first corner and the part of the second corner, as well as you can just straight line it into the pit lane. Of course, you do have to brake, obviously, so you don't get a 5-second time penalty for speeding. But it is a really great circuit for the strategy, because we don't see too many two-stops anymore, and also it's kind of just rids the advantage that the alternate strategy actually brings at some tracks like China and Vietnam, where it's just so overpowered. If you're qualifying outside the top 10, you're going to have a better chance of winning the race than the man on pole. But here, it doesn't apply so much. So, yeah, it is brilliant to see that two-stop still exists, and hopefully we're going to see a lot of them coming out in full force today.
I enjoyed the Canadian Grand Prix in PSGL in pretty much most of the tiers last few seasons as well. It was, it provided a lot of action. I remember I was watching PSGL F1. I think it was either season 24 or season 25, where I think both seasons actually were changeable conditions or had rain-affected races. So it is one of those tracks where it could be that the rain could affect it as well for these guys, and the temperatures may not make a difference for these guys as well, and that can throw a spanner in the works actually. Most of the Canadian race I've actually commentated, most of the time it either's had rain in qualifying or had rain affected in the race. Hopefully it does not happen today, because we want to see all these drivers in full force at the moment. We've got M Short about to start a lap, and I think it will make sense because we haven't seen him, or he's capable of, obviously, apart from his lap earlier on, which was absolutely fantastic. Let's see if we can go on board with him around a lap around the Montreal circuit at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve actually won here, it was actually named after him after his death as well. First opened the first Grand Prix here was 1988. Ayrton Senna first won the Canadian Grand Prix. So you're going into the hairpin, the 100-meter board on your right. Once you get to start the inside curb of turn 2, get on the brakes again. You'll be going through the uphill sprint, and then goes through to turn 3 and turn 4. Very commonplace to invalidate, so make sure you avoid more of the curbing as you can. Go to the right just a little bit, as a yellow flag that's not going to help him whatsoever. DRS enabled for M Shaw. He actually did that very well, but Benny in the way is not going to help matters, but that may have given a little bit of a toe. Not one of his best laps, but he's going to make past turn 8, turn 9, and heading into the hairpin of turn 10. Quite a few people make mistakes around here. I did when I was doing my team as well, and you got to be careful on the exit as well. So you're now going to be going into the DRS straight now. Full power here. You're going almost at 200 miles per hour, and then go through into turn 12 and turn 13. Continue this acceleration. Avoid the wall of champions as you can. He comes across the final corner, and it's a 108.0, so not quite fast in his previous lap, but still not bad showing for M Short.
Yeah, you might have noticed that he did back off right at the end of that run. He's not going to go for another one. Probably going to try and come into the pit lane. We don't know if we're going to make a 4th run. You can make 4 runs around here, but it is at the expense of the two-stop strategy. Of course, if you want to make 4 separate runs on 4 different tyres, then you're going to have to go with the softer strategy, which means you lose out on the medium. So we might not see him come out again and give up his pole chance, but with the amount of overtaking opportunities around here, he could be challenging Gonnanan for a spot later on in the Grand Prix, of course, but only time will tell. He's invalidated his in-lap, so that's just basically going to confirm that he's going to come in.
Yeah, he's going to come in for one more final time. He should have time to go out again, of course. One of the shortest laps on the calendar. Don't forget we've had Austria as well, where it was very short, and Zandvoort as well. So some of these guys have probably liked this track for a reason. The only people out on track at the moment is Chapelele and Skiven. And I drove a few times around Canada in some league races in my team, and it's just a very, very hard track in terms of your tyres. I mean, especially the rears. If you lock up too hard, or if you brake just a little bit harder, then your tyres are just going to lock up so much. Your temperatures are going to be affected. You're going to be really hot on the rears as well. So something to watch out for. And hopefully these guys have fine-tuned their setups to make sure that their tyre wear is very, very important around this circuit, as Chapelele is about to start his, I think it's his last lap, as well as Hadler and Benny pretty soon as well. Skivan as well. as confirmed on Twitter last week, he is the longest standing F2 driver, replacing Ollie Flavel as well. And to be honest, hopefully he could use that as motivation to have a good result this week, because he has scored quite a lot in his F2 career. Could this be the night where he scores big, Dan?
Well, he's definitely got the opportunity to do so, and on his lap at the moment, just coming through the final sector, did a 40.8 through the second sector there. It's not looking like he's going to set the time with green to light, but it certainly can be a respectable lap time from Skiva. And now coming into the final corner, probably could have shafted the right-hander penultimate corner a little bit more than that, but now coming across the line, what's it going to be? It's going to be slowest of them all, a 108.9, and that's not what he's going to want coming into the race. And I was going to go back to Chapelele to watch his lap, but he has actually invalidated this run, presumably just outside of the second DRS straight on the run, because that is a really easy place to lose it. But he is going to go for another lap, and I think, never mind, yeah, he is going to go for another run. So we're going to see some of these guys finishing up their qualifying sessions with a bang.
He must have invalidated quite early on as well, because obviously his ERS was quite high when he went through the final corner. So luckily it just gives him time. He's got plenty of fuel as well, I think, to make it to the end of his run. So in a way, that's not bad for him, but his tyres at the start, if he qualifies inside the top 10, is going to be potentially a huge risk. We'll have to wait and see. Everybody is on their lap right now. Apart from Skivan and Compassion, the top 14 separated by 7/10 of a second. They just get closer and closer each Grand Prix we do in Canada. Obviously, because it's a short track, there's more chances to get close. And Chapelele has invalidated again, just past the second DRS straight. That is a shame. I think he's going to probably go into the pits. Otherwise, the undercut strategy for Chapelele later on is going to be a killer for him, obviously, due to him being on much older tyres compared to the rest of them. So he's probably going to hope he can qualify outside the top 10. He's only 4 tenths behind Paul, actually. But look at this. Look at between P4 and P5 all of a sudden. Greeny on pole with a 107.5. Gonan in second with only just 100ths slower. And CT Brain 12,000th slower. Then we got M Short, which is 3 100ths slower. Lakitu 1/10th. And Gonan's just gone fastest. I mean, this is shaping up to be a really good end of qualifying. And I'll let you take the end of qualifying, because you rarely do that. And it's a bit unfair that I usually do it. So I'll let you do it this time.
Yeah, well, last season's winner, Bugatti, just going into 10th position, arguably one of the worst places to start. But then we got Hadler, who set the first time of the session, now coming through the final chicane, brushing the exit curb, and it was a really nice run through the final chicane there. Hadler's going to cross the line. He's going to displace the man who won last season and take 10th place as a name change across the line. He goes 5th fastest, and Lakitu's not going to put in a run. Neither is Big C. They're both gone off in the same place. Benny, unfortunately, hasn't validated this one, but of course, I believe that we have either CC Brain or Greeny on our lap. Never mind, it is Tomato who's going to be the next one to cross the line. The championship leader, of course, the Williams, the Welshman, now up towards the final corner. Look at the overspeed. He's almost 330 kilometers per hour, shafting the chicane. Is now coming across the line now. Can he snap pole from Gonan's teeth as he goes 8th fastest? It's not going to be a pole lap for the championship leader, and it looks like it's going to be certain for Gonan to be on pole today. And you know what, he'll be really happy with that one. CC Brain and Greeny taking up 2nd and 3rd respectively. Really good from them. And M Short, the man who's just come into the division, putting himself on the 2nd row of the grid, and tell you what, that is going to be a really great start and a big confidence boost for his session.
That is a very strong debut for M Shaw, I've got to say. Qualifying P4 in your debut is really, really going to help you with the strategy and try and get some moves done as well. Maybe he can show why he deserves to be in PSGL F2. Don't forget, this is line only tier for this season. There have been talks on whether PSGL F2 will become a no-line tier as well, along with PSGL F1, but obviously there are still in discussion with that. We'll obviously find out next season if that does happen, but that will probably make the racing even more closer than we've seen this season for next season, but we'll have to wait and see. But we'll go through your results. Gonanen takes pole position, and the top 5 separated by just under a tenth. That is absolutely crazy. Good job to the top 5. Greeny That is where he wants to be, ahead of Tomato. If he wants to keep his championship hope alive, he needs to be ahead of Tomato tonight, and he is. CC Brain third, M Short fourth, Name Changes fifth, Lakitu in sixth. He likes his sixth, doesn't he? Big C seventh, Tomato eighth, Benny ninth, Hadlet in 10th, and we got Bugatti, Compassion, Faz, Pat, Shapalili, and Skivan. Skivan, the only person not to be within a second. The top 15 separated by just under 5 or 6 tenths. That is crazy.
Yeah, but around a track like Canada, you do tend to get qualifying like that, where it is really close. But speaking of the championship leader at the moment,
wow.
And, oh, look at that. Nice and rainy. Well, it wasn't what we were wishing for, but Tomato was only 2 tenths off of the pole time, and he found himself way down in 8th position. So really, if you make one simple error, you're going to be way out of it for the race. But maybe he was slower because of his setup. We could see a wet setup on that Williams car. Maybe Gondon was running dry. I don't know. I didn't think they would be. That is kind of a rookie error. But we can only see that once they actually get on track, who struggled and who excels.
Yeah, exactly. Usually we don't look at the chat or anything about the weather. We usually like to keep it a surprise, and I like that because it definitely spices things up. And that's probably why a lot more people decide to start their laps on the softs and got their laps in pretty early as well. So I think a bit of a relief for us to see some soft laps in, but I think they're on the intermediate tyres. We don't know if it's going to stay like this for the entire race. If I just change my scenes, there we go, because otherwise I will forget. But so the strategy for the dry strategy has gone completely out the window, and we may not see a 2-stop strategy here today. You never know. But looking at the data, the intermediates tend to last roughly about the same time as the mediums, and the full wet, if we do use them, tend to last the same time as the hard compounded tyres. I wonder how some of these guys, what setups they've chosen, because a 107, I've got to say, for some of these guys who did qualify in the 107s, how on earth do they do that on a wet setup? That just goes to show how much they have practiced for this league. And will Gondon get this luck? Will he get into the top 5 like he deserves to? Will he get that elusive podium or maybe an elusive win? We will see. Hopefully he'll go back to form pretty soon. And we're seeing the strategy pop up on our screen. It's either going to be a 1-stop or a 2-stop. I hope people do a 2-stop. It'll make things a lot more interesting. Or I hope that the weather does change so it makes people do a 2-stop anyway. But Dan, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's your money to win this race today?
You know what? Looking back to Japan, Gondon had the pace to win the race, and unfortunately that was robbed from him after a safety car threw everything away. So you know what? I'm going to say Gondon wins this Grand Prix. I'm going to put my money on Lakitu getting second, and I think a charge through the grid. Now hear me out on this one. I think Bugatti is actually going to come up through the order from 11th position, and he's going to get third. Just a little bit of a spice into the mix, if you will.
Nice. I think I'm going to give it to Greeny, I think, for the win today. I think him starting in second place is probably going to help him with his boost in the championship, and he is going to have the extra ounce, if you will, in him to make sure he does finish ahead of Tomato. So I think Greeny's going to be, win, or maybe Lakitu could do well as well. I said Lakitu does well in wet conditions, and hopefully these guys do not get a puncher. Lakitu was very unlucky with a puncher as well. But anyway, no talk on punches right now. We're about to go racing. The 5 red lights are on. Gondon on the right, Greeny on the left, and we are underway here for PSGL F2 for the Canadian Grand Prix. A pretty good start from Gondon, and it looks like we got the timing glitch again, so I think it's really hard to see what's gone on. But we got Gondon and Greeny going side by side into the turn 2 and turn 3. Greeny getting a better exit here, coming through into the right-hander coming up soon, and Greeny takes the lead of this race with Gondon and second place, with his teammate CC Brain in third place. We got Compassion and the Racing Point going side by side as well, having a little bit of a battle in the midfield. So far, most of these guys have got away scot-free with damage, which is a bit of a surprise considering it's raining a little bit. It could have been worse, but it just makes people a little bit more cautious. But I hope to see a few people make some moves. We've got Skivan in 16th place, trying to make a move past Pat towards turn 8, but Pat just cut the corner there, and that's probably a warning there. But Great start from Greeny. That is just what he wanted. He is going to take this opportunity with both hands, I've got to say.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, as you say, the just start that he absolutely needed. Now getting a 1.3 second gap over Gonnanan, and it could be a Ferrari 1-2 by the end of the next couple of laps, because he is right on the tail of the Red Bull car. Is CC Brain, of course, the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix, which was snatched from beneath Gonnanan's nose. But now coming down the start-finish route, you can see how he's already right up to the back of the Flying Finn at the moment, and now 3/10 is the gap coming to the first corner. Definitely not going to be close enough, but now the two Racing Points fighting it out. Chapelele and Pat, these two know each other quite well, both fellow countrymen, and it looks like that Pat is going to get the better of Chap. But then now coming on the exit, it looks like Chapelele is actually going to try and fight it here, but he unfortunately cannot find the move on his countrymen. Of course, both German, these two drivers, but now the gap is 2 seconds between Gonnanan and Greeny. Really is a dominant display from Greeny there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've got to say, these guys probably have taken a long time to try and warm up their tyres. It's very important that you do warm up your tyres in the formation lap, and for most of these guys, they've warmed them up very, very well, and that's why there hasn't been much incidents in lap 1, and they're keeping it calm, they're keeping it consistent as well. Skiva, unfortunately, where he started in last place, but he's got a lot of work to do as he tries to get past Pat as well. We also got the two Mercedes fighting as well, as Haller wanted to go into this as well for P10. He's right on the back of this. No DRS this race, remember, as obviously it's disabled in the wet conditions. The tyres are getting a little bit cooler in these wet conditions as well, so they've got to be careful that they avoid lock-ups. CC Brain's also going for the move for P2. Gonnanan is losing position after position here. The Ferraris are absolutely flying around here, just like McLaren's did at the opening few laps in Portugal on Saturday. Hashtag spoiler alert. So we got a Ferrari 1 and 2. Who would have thought? Obviously, the Ferrari's not doing too well in real life. It's great to see the Ferrari's doing well in this round of PSGL F2, Dan. It's fantastic from CC Brain. Can he chase his teammate Greeny, or would he just want to help his teammate Greeny for the championship at this point?
Yeah, but he's really got a task on his hands to catch up to him, but we know him very well for his charges through the order, thinking back to last week, of course, where he ended up on the podium. But M Short looking on the back of Gonnanan, and I was speaking about the setups, and I think that Gonnanan might have fallen victim to maybe just forgetting to check the weather. Hopefully not, but the two Shazoo boys going side by side now up towards the hairpin. It's going to be Tomato getting by his fellow teammate, of course, in the esports side of things. Name changer up into 5th position. Been a great start from the championship leader, and if he wants to win this championship, he's just got to do everything he can to get further and further up the order. He's now back now he's on the back of our rookie in the name of M Short, and then got Gonnanan up ahead, but then CC Brain and Greeny really living up to the Prancing Horse legacy, of course, absolutely flying in this one. And I think Gonnanan might have another bad run through the final chicane, because M Short is right onto the back of him. He looks a bit too far back to go into turn number 1, but he is certainly raring to go, is Marcus, and he's doing tremendously so far.
Yeah, he is. Oh, a little bit of a touch there from M Short on Gonnanan as well. I'm not sure if one of them broke slightly early there coming into the corner, but, you know, M Short is a lot faster. He's gaining by the second. 4 attempts, now 3 attempts, potentially 2 attempts. That's going to be the gap that you need to try and get past the Red Bull driver of Gonnanan. And I would say Gonnanan might want to probably opt for the 2-stop strategy if his tyres does start to fall off, obviously, as well. Because in these wet conditions, you can try and get these inters for as long as they possibly can. 19 laps is the cut-off point for these intermediate tyres, but for some of these guys, they may not be able to last 19 laps. So it's all about their setup in order to make sure they manage that. Tomato is on the back of this battle as well. So if any of those two make a mistake going into this long straight, then this is going to be an opportunity of a lifetime for Tomato to try and score some more championship points. At the moment, Greeny's going to be closing in on his championship rival of Tomato if Tomato is not careful. But Tomato's doing the right thing, staying back at the time being, because he doesn't want to get involved in an incident that might hinder his chance of possibly taking the championship in a couple of races' time. We've got a yellow flag, our first incident of the season. Skiban is now out of the race. I'm not sure we retired in the pit lane or not, but That was very, very sad from him. That is his race over, and he's left the session. He's not a very happy bunny, but we're still riding on board with this battle between Tomato and Gonan. And Gonan is not letting Tomato have this move that easy at the moment. He's trying to defend for his life, but his tyres are just not cutting it at the moment. You do know, I can see that Tomato is faster. Tomato getting a better run to the right-hand side here. He's using his overtake. He's got more overtake, I think, than Gonan has. Tomato is up to P4, and he's going to chase down the rookie of M Short for P3.
But it might not be over for Gonan. His woes could continue because he's got Lakitu and Namechanger now fighting him here. And Namechanger's going to look to the inside line into the hairpin on his teammate. Lakitu could try follow it through. There's a little bit of a touch there, and Lakitu's going to see himself go through one corner. 3 positions lost for Gonan. He loses out to Bugatti as well, but now coming down the straightaway, here is Lakitu on the back of Namechanger. Now he's tucked into the slipstream. He's not got any overtake left to deploy here, as now coming into the the chicane. He's not going to try and find a move, but it looks like he's got a much quicker run. He might have got a warning there for cutting over that final corner, and he's just going to stay to the back of Namechanger. He's actually coming at him on the straight. He could go for a move into turn number 1, but it's not meant to be for Lakitu. So it's Namechanger in P5, Lakitu P6, but the big story in all of that, the pole sitter gone on and all the way down into 8th position, now going to be at the mercy of Big C, and he's in a bit of a Mercedes sandwich at the moment. They could try and work together and both find their way past him.
It's a bit of a shame for Gonan, and every time we say good things about Gonan, he always messes up and falls down the field. So we're not going to say too much about Gonan, unfortunately. So if any Gonan fans are in the chat, we do apologise for commentators cursing him just a little bit. So hopefully he has better luck in the remainder of this race, as we got more battles to be seen. I never knew that the rain could spice things up and have more battles, probably because there's no DRS and all they got to rely on is slipstream and pure talent to try and get the move done. Lakitu is still right on the back of Namechanger. Lakitu, I would say, one of the kings of rain in this tier. Don't forget, Hungary was basically where he got, I believe, one of his pole positions as well in the rain with Faz as well, which was absolutely fantastic. Or it might be Monza, I'm not entirely sure, but he just likes the rain. He gets more points in the rain. So it might be a relief for him, or it might be hard for him to try and get done, but he's just playing the long game at the moment, not going for the move unless he can think about going for it, because he knows Namechanger is going quicker and quicker and improving race after race. He knows that Namechanger has won a race before, so Lakitu, I think, just got to step up. But I know him, he's raced in a lot of leagues. I know he could potentially try and go for a move anytime soon. He just has to wait for the perfect time. So instead, he sometimes pays off for Lakitu.
Yeah, these two pretty much had polar opposite Grand Prix last week out in Bahrain. Of course, Lakitu getting a puncture, Namechanger going on to win it. So hopefully Lakitu is going to want to try and change his fortunes tonight and fight with the Finn there. But he's actually got a pretty good run through the chicane. So now coming up towards the hairpin, he's not going to try and push it too hard, but definitely down the straight. Is now into the braking zone. You can see how deep he goes, blocking both tyres, and he's right onto the back of him. There's a little bit of a bump there from Lakitu, just saying, get a move on, mate. I'm right here, as it's actually hindered his exit. And now Bugatti could be on for a little bit of a run here. These guys could all concertina up in one part of the circuit with the slipstream and ERS usage, but Namechanger going to live to fight another day, staying in P5. Lakitu is closing on him. He could maybe bank on getting a really good run through the final chicane, as all a little bit of a slide from Namechanger on the exit, but he's just used up a little bit of his overtake there to really benefit him there. The first driver into the pit lane, Compassion. I don't know if he's got wing damage or not, but really early for a pit stop here from the Alfa Romeo outfit, and it doesn't look like, it does look like a wing change. He is getting that replaced, so he must have got damage somewhere on the circuit, and that is going to be a certain 2-stop for him.
Yeah, that is a shame, of course. That is usually the time we usually do your 2-stop in the dry, of course, probably lap 6, lap 7 potentially as well, but he's got a lot of work to do, but you never know, there may be some safety cars, there may be some dry running that may come later on. We don't know what's happening for the remainder of this race, but it looks like the conditions are pretty much exactly the same. The visibility is a lot better, but probably because a lot of these guys are, well, some of these guys are running in clear air, they're not running in dirty air as much as they were in the start of the race though. Tomato is chasing down on M Short once again though, but again, M Short's straight line speed he's doing very well for himself right now. He's 1.3 seconds behind CC Brain as well. Let's see how Short's ERS usage is. 74%, Tomato 12%. So I think if Tomato tries to go for a move, M Short could use his overtake quite a lot to try and defend there, and that may deny Tomato a chance to get past M Short, which means he may get held up even more, and the dirty air may cause your tyres to heat up a little bit more too.
Yeah, I think at this point, Tomato's just thinking about the championship. He could win it today, so he's going to risk it all to win it all in Montreal, of course. And that could be fighting for every position that he can get. So I just think he's going absolutely all out in this one. And he's right onto the back of M Short, but of course a lot in the bank for M Short to defend himself with. And he's not too far off of CC Brain, so he could definitely try and push and catch up to him. And maybe try and use CC Brain as a little bit of a barricade to Tomato and kind of cover off the Williams driver, which I definitely think that CC Brain would be quite happy to do because of his teammate in the championship hunt. But looking at the battle for fifth at the moment, Lakitu just not really made any inroads on Name Changer, and probably the widest car on the circuit in the eyes of the jump, but a bit of a lock-up, and running deep for Name Changer is going to shift the advantage to Lakitu on the exit, and he gets a slide out of the corner, so getting on the power a little bit too early, going to hinder him on the exit, and now down the straightaway, he's just not close enough to actually catch up to Name Changer. A lot of drag will be run in the wet, and of course no DRS to help these guys. Going to make overtakes a lot more difficult if you're not close up to these guys, but someone who's close up, M Short to CC Brain, where's all that pace come from? As now he's right onto the back of the Ferrari outfit, and Tomato's just completely been dropped by him.
I don't know what happened to CC Brain there, or maybe M Short was going quicker, but what I've seen so far in the race, because I was obviously paying attention as well to the fastest lap, there was a few fastest laps set by M Short, the rookie, and he did have the fastest lap for a little bit, but just nicked it by Tomato. So I think M Short has been setting some consistent laps as well. So I think there's going to be a fight between those two for the fastest lap. I think M Short seems to be managing his tyres a lot better compared to Tomato. That's probably why. But Tomato has catched up a little bit. So he is gaining, I think, on certain parts of the track. But let's watch M Short as he tries to get past, I think, CC Brain as well. We've got Lakitu and Name Changer. They're going side by side into the hairpin. We also got Bugatti as well, right in the middle of this as well. We've got Golonen as well, also in the midst. Golonen can try and get his position back as well and try and repay what he's lost, to be honest. But here we go. This is going to be very, very exciting. Bugatti wants to try and get as many positions as he can. Not quite yet, though. Name Changer opts for an early pit stop. I wonder if it's damage or if I wonder if it was for a tactical reason. We'll have to wait and see. Red Bull are third in the pit lane. They were the fastest pit stop in real life. I wonder how fast their pit stop is going to be here. It is for damage. So I wonder how he got damaged there. We didn't see it on the screen, so it might be from damage they got earlier on when he might have had a minor tap of the wall. I don't know. But yeah, that's probably dropped him down the order. We'll see how Bugatti try and close it up to Lakitu. I hope he does. And we've got a nice battle on our hands.
Yeah, what I was watching there was actually coming through the second chicane at the end of this straight that Lakitu is on now, and a little bit of a slide on exit. I didn't see a wall tap at all from Name Changer, but he definitely had a really bad run through there, and could have maybe damaged his wing without me seeing it. I'm sure we could ask him later on, and maybe he can make a comment about that on Twitter or something of the likes. But really unfortunate for him. He had great pace, and coming off such a good result last time out, he's really going to be kicking about himself about that if it was his own fault for actually getting the damage. But now it shifts over to Lakitu and Bugatti. Bugatti just within a second. Of course, that's not going to mean any DRS for the Englishman. I think he's English. Not too sure. Correct me if I am wrong. But they're getting to the point where they are going to begin starting a pit stop. Speaking of which, Golonen coming into the pits on lap number 12. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a wing change as well. I think it might be.
That's a bit too early. No, it's not. It's a undercut strategy. So, if I remember, if people were doing the one stop, they would pit around laps 16 to 19. That is way too early. So I'm guessing Golonen's going to go for the gamble and do the two stop. He's got nothing to lose, but I think a majority of the other guys are going to wait. There's no rain. Golonen's probably made the biggest mistake of his life because it's dry on the circuit, Dan.
Well, it's not dry at this moment, but I can definitely see no more rain falling from the sky. So really, it's a wasted pit stop for Gonanen now. So Red Bull, what was looking like a really great day, taking, I believe, first and fifth in qualifying, now way behind outside the top 10. Now Chapelele on the back of Benny is the gap for the points. So yeah, it could have been a really big strategical blunder from Gonanen there. I think it'll be a couple laps yet before we see any dry running, but definitely not going to be what Gonanen wants. And I think they're either going to switch onto a set of mediums or onto a set of hards. I think mediums might work out because of the lower temperatures.
Yep, it will, of course. And I'm just trying to think how long the mediums do last. Mediums last about 19 laps. Hard lasts around 24 laps. So it does depend on how long you want to play this game. Would you want to stay until the end of this Grand Prix? Or would you want to be on faster tyres and then go on the softs until the end? It just does depend how much the track does try up. You can still see a bit of spray on the circuit. So it is far too early at the moment to pit. I do remember though, I was commentating on a race last week around Canada where it started off dry, then it went to wet, and then it went to dries again. And the last wet to dry period, it just dried up so quickly when there was no rain. 2 laps later, everybody was going into the pit lane for a change of tyres. At that point, it was the soft tyres because there was only about 6 or 7 laps before the end. There was no point going on the medium compounded tyres. But it's probably going to be different. In every lobby, it's different. We don't know when it's going to dry up. And we don't know when's the best time for the soft. People are going to be keeping an eye on the DRS enable sign. That is the cut-off point. Well, as soon as Jeff tells the DRS is enabled, that is when people can come into the pits. But some people may have to take a gamble to probably pit a lap earlier potentially than what they think it may be, as Tomato has done. Tomato is taking that gamble. I think he's going to be ignoring trying to go for that undercut of dreams and seeing if it pays off. He goes in and he's on to the medium compounded tyres. It's I don't think it's risky. I think it could make it to the end. I'm not entirely sure. But it's still a bit damp in some places. So we'll watch Tomato pretty soon to see how far he manages. And if he gets past his lap in a lap's time, then we know that's the right time. If he doesn't, oh, he's struggling already. This may be a lap too early. I don't know, but we'll find out in the next few laps or so. This could work for Tomato. This could not work. We'll see.
I definitely think it's too early. If you go on board with some of the intermediate runners, you can see how much spray there really is left on the track. All of the treading, displacing the water and flicking it up into the air. I just think it's too early, and you can see the gap to Chapelele at the moment. He's actually right on the back of Benny. Could maybe try and make a move into the hairpin. He's certainly really close here, and he's actually going to go for the move. Using his overtake now, coming down this short straightaway, going to be the last of the late breakers. He's got the inside line for the hairpin on Benny, and now getting the move done up the inside. Can Benny try and fight him back on the exit? That will be the real question, but a little bit of an oversteering correction moment for him there, and that is pretty much going to nullify anything there that he could have done. And Lakitu also coming in. I just think they're a lap or two a little bit, just that tiny bit too early for an actual pit stop onto these slick tyres, and Nikita's going to gamble. He's going to say screw it, points at podium or nothing, I guess, but I just don't think it's the right call.
No, I don't. Maybe he saw Tomato pitting and saying, hey, if he could do it, I could do it. But Tomato has just overtaken. I think we're going to see if the undercut has worked for Tomato, and it has. But again, I think Lakitu going through turn 1 is quite tricky. Going through turn 1 for Tomato is quite tricky as well. There's still some spray coming up as well. You can see the intermediate runners of Gonanen really catching up to Tomato. I wonder if that's definitely a mistake. Gonanen is probably going to try for a risk here. And this could be very spicy for the championship as he tries to go for a lunge. Not leaving too much space there, but Gonanen is keen to get the move done and try and get back to positions he lost earlier on in the race. Don't forget he started on pole position this race. And here we go, Gonanen takes position. And that is a sign that the Inters are still the best tyre to be on at the moment. Greeny goes into the pit lane. Again, that's still too early. The spray's still there, but I'm guessing, I don't know. It is far too early. I don't know what they're doing. I think Greeny just wants to have an upper hand, but if he doesn't go well, we could see the likes of M. Short is going there as well. Faz. Oh my goodness. It may be Jeff telling him. I don't know. Otherwise, not many people would have gone if Jeff didn't tell them. Oh, I still think it's too early, but it may dry up pretty quickly. We'll have to wait and see. But I think the advantage has got to be for CC Brain and Bugatti right now. I think you just got to manage on whatever tyre you're on right now, because whatever tyre you're on, you're still going to struggle. It's how best you manage your tyres at this current moment.
Right now, I'm watching on board with Bugatti, and he's actually looking like he's beginning to struggle in these drying conditions. So I think maybe at this point, the mediums might be a bit better, and you can see on board two drivers who are pretty much at the exact same point. M Short is pulling away from Benny at this moment in time. You can actually see visibly on Benny's car, there's pretty much no spray at all, and Lakitu must have had a bit of a nice mistake there, and he's actually in the wall. He's got a bit of wing damage, and I believe he's made contact with Name Changer as well, so both of them getting damage on their cars, and they're going to certainly be into the pits for another wing change for Name Changer. Second time he's had to pit for damage. CC Brain, I think that this is now or never for the intermediates to come off and go onto the dries. All the remaining intermediate runners will certainly be on for a set of slicks, because it is now definitely the time. I think M Short might have actually had a bit of an undercut on CC Brain, and he could maybe be ahead coming on to this lap number 17. Greeny LFC comfortably in the lead, but now CC Brain coming out the pits, and he's actually quite a ways ahead of M Short, so my mistake there. And it is going to be the advantage for the Ferraris still today.
Yep, it is at the moment, but M Short still on course for a podium, his first podium in PSGL, and that would be a really great debut for him as well for the McLaren team. It's a shame that the reserves can't score points for the Constructors' Championship, because that would have boosted McLaren's morale, I've got to say, but surely McLaren will be looking at M Short next season and saying, hey, we like you, we may want you full-time next season. And don't forget, sign-ups are not long away. Earlier on, we announced the season 27 calendar at the beginning of the stream as well. We will announce it again towards the end of the at the end of the stream as well, in case those of you that have missed it. I'm sure PSGL F1 will be talking about it as well, so I'm sure M Short will definitely be signing up after his performances today. There's still a bit of spray on going into turn 10, but apart from that, I think everywhere else looks like it's spray free. So the final set is going to be very tricky for these drivers, and if they bin it, then they could kiss their races goodbye. The only people still on the inters, we've got Golan and Big C patched, Name Changer and Compassion, and we just had the sign from Race Control that DRS is enabled. So the inters guys will be going into the pits. Golan and being the first one. Then we got Big C, Pat, and someone's gone off.
It's Shap.
It's Shapalele in turn 10. So that is a shame for him. He just wasn't comfortable on the car, and he's the only driver to go on the softs. Those softs, there's no way those softs are going to make it to the end. They only last 12 laps. So, and there's more than 12 laps to go of this Grand Prix, and he goes in anyway. So, yeah, there he goes as well. So everybody going on to the mediums. Hadler taking the gamble on the hards, and you can see, oh, Greeny left the session. Greeny's left the session. That is not what you want for the championship lead, and he's right at the back of the grid on my screens. He's probably decent, so I don't know what's happening for him right now. It'll be interesting to get his point of view. He may not have left at all. We don't know, but I think because you can't rejoin the set, I don't know. Greeny's going to probably test the warnings to see if he gets a warning, but if he does not get a warning, he could risk getting disqualified. So watch out, but I think he's probably ghosted at the moment. Because he's definitely still ahead of CC Brain right now. So something to watch out for. But I think, because obviously the drivers were told last week that if you do rejoin the session, you've got to try and just do get a warning or something like that. And I think Greeny's still ghosted. I don't know. Could this cost his championship? And could we see Tomato take the championship due to that disconnect? We will have to wait and see, but I think Greeny just joined back, but I don't know if he's P15 or P2. That's unfortunate. And we got a safety car.
Yeah, Shapalele put it in the wall somewhere, and we could actually ride on board with CC Brain, see what happened to the Racing Point car, if that is still moving, or if he's just somehow lost it on the straight.
Oh, it's right in the middle.
Oh, don't know how he's done that, on a straight.
It's right in the middle of the circuit. So that's going to put a lot of people at risk. And that's probably... the safety car probably may have came out a lap too late, because some of these guys who were near the top, who were on the inters, that could have worked out very, very well for them. Hadler goes into the pit again. Luckily, the cars are ghosted, so that's a relief right now. So CC Brain still leads. I've seen a race before where a few people, I think there was one person that was a few laps down on my screen when I was racing, but then on his screen he was actually running like 3rd or 4th or something. So we could see that glitch there as well. We don't know, but we can still see, because we Greeny can't have been lapped by CC Brain already, can he? He just can't. So I'm just going to count him as P2 at the moment. Ignore what the game says.
Sorry, I certainly think that he is way down the order, because if you look into the race director on lap 18, it says that he did a 112.6 through the first sector. That's almost 2 minutes in the first sector alone. So I think it's just pretty much put him a lap behind, counted it as not even being done, and it's just put him in the same sector, and really just he might have desynced and missed a certain key point where it kind of has to track you, and yeah, it's completely screwed him over now, because he is a lap down to his teammate, and if you do go to the gap to the leader, it says he is a lap off. So really, he has been absolutely and royally screwed in this Grand Prix. He was leading it and he was dominating the way, and now surely his championship hopes just out the window.
Yeah, I think we'll probably go on board with Greeny to see if that's the case, but it just looks very, very, very strange, I've got to say, to be honest. But I'm not sure how much the AI is around this track, but surely if he actually is in second place, the penalty, he'll probably get rescinded and he'll probably go into P2 anyway. It's just something that, unfortunately, Codemasters have not... It's found a new bug, unfortunately, but again, we'll just... If Greeny does go for the move on CC Brain, we'll know that he's not a lap down on his end. If he does not go for the move on CC Brain, we know he's a lap down, so... But anyway, we've got CC Brain and Greeny, the two Ferraris. Then we got M Short, who is still chasing for his first podium. Then we got Bugatti. Then Faz as well. That's going to be interesting as well. Don't forget, before the race, we got Faz, who was also close to Tomato as well. If he stays fourth, if he stays fourth in the in the race, Tomato won't win the championship. He is still within a decent gap, because he's ahead of Tomato. A decent gap to take it to the next round, which is the United States of America, which is also in season 27 as well. So, you know, even though it may be over for Greeny, it's definitely not over for Faz. Faz definitely needs this after some weak performances for the last couple of rounds, actually the last 3 rounds, where he hasn't scored any points. So imagine he would probably be within a shot of the championship if he keeps this up. So very, very impressive.
Yeah, I think the safety car really has thrusted him into a good position. Now we get the message from race control. Safety car coming back in this lap. What you said earlier about getting P2 reinstated, they physically, I don't think they can do that, because there's nothing you really can do about a glitch happening, and that's pretty much stealing a position away from everyone else. And also the blue flags will pretty much put him out of commission. He's going to have to let everyone by and be lapped by the entire grid, otherwise he'll get black flagged from the session. But now it is up to CC Brain. It is his discretion to restart this Grand Prix. And Short in second, Bugatti third. They've got a lapped car in Greeny ahead of him, and it looks like already a good getaway from CC Brain. He's going to go flat out of the corner, and soon we are going to be green flag racing. There we are. So we are back.
That's the ghost.
Drivers are back in the discretion to overtake, and already Greeny ghosting to M Short, and meanwhile Tomato and Benny having a little bit of a skirmish here, and Gonanen could find himself getting a little bit of a look in, but it's going to be Tomato around the outside of turn number 2, and he gets the move on Benny, and now leaving him at the mercy of Gonanen, but a pretty clean getaway from everyone else on the restart.
Yeah, I've got to say, and I'm a bit shocked that M Short is not getting passed by Greeny, because I'm sure you can overtake Ghost or anything like that. That just makes me very, very confused about why. Maybe, I don't know, because maybe Greeny's going to get a penalty. I don't have a clue, or it may not show on our screen. We don't know. We won't know what's happened. We're on lap 22. We still got some more racing to go with. So we're going to basically ignore what's happening near the front and concentrate what's happening in the midfield. And the K2 has been overtaken by Compassion for P10. Compassion on course for gaining some more points in this race. He's gone 7 points so far this season. Can he get on for some more points pretty soon as well? We got some more penalties as well. Quite a lot of people getting penalties today, which could decide most people's outcomes of this race. Tomato getting the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:13.0. So his championship hopes are still there at the moment. Obviously, he's leading it. So technically, he could take it to the next round or even the final round. I would like to see this go to the final round in Brazil in 2 weeks' time, but I don't think it's going to happen. Tomato is purple sector 1. He's flying. He knows how much this championship means to him. He's won it in season 24. He wants to win it in season 26 as well.
Yeah, he's certainly on a hunt at the moment to Faz. Of course, one of his early championship rivals. Faz has not had a good last couple of races. Now he's got a really bad run in comparison to Tomato. He's going to have to look to the outside line, the Williams driver, the Welshman around the outside of the Brazilian man, and he manages to get the position on Faz, and it could be 2 for 1 on this lap against him, as now Bugatti could be in a little bit of a vulnerable position to Tomato, who seems to be on an absolute charge at the moment. Now coming down the straightaway, he looks too far back to make a move, but the run through the chicane could mean everything. And I'll tell you what, he's had a pretty decent one through there. Now opening his overtake, and CC Brains taking the fast lap is going to be immediately stolen away by Tomato as the track soon comes up to temperature. Can't get the move into turn number 1, but I'll tell you what, Tomato's is a man on a mission at the moment.
Yeah, if he wants this championship, don't forget, he needs to outscore Faz and basically is Faz, Greeny and Dario by at least 4 points. If he does that, then he's champion. At the moment, because obviously first place gets 16 points, I need to actually check how many points people get. I should know this, but I should have done my research beforehand. But first place gets 16 points. It's not the normal F1 where you get 25 points, 18, 16, whatever. It's completely different compared to other leagues, and it just makes it closer together. Meanwhile, Tomato is going to try and go for a lunge on Bugatti for P3. F2 champion versus F2 champion. Bugatti season 25 champion. Maybe handing over to a new champion this season of Tomato as well. Obviously he will, because obviously Bugatti is well down the order. Bugatti can't take the championship anyway, so he joined late in the season. More penalties going through at the moment. Bugatti's still on the back of Greeny, as well as I think M Short is going to overtake Greeny for P2 on track. I don't know how it's taking so long for him to do this, but you know, I think he's going to still do it anyway. But Bugatti, you said he was going to do well this race. You said he was going to go for a comeback drive, and you're right at the moment, Dan. Let's just hope he doesn't bin it in a wall, because otherwise you probably put a big jinx on him.
Yeah, well, so far for this season, a podium is a bit of uncharted territory for Bugatti, but he's certainly proving his stake there as the reigning champion of PSGL F2. A really bad run for Tomato actually could leave him at the mercy of Faz, and gone on right on the back of that's gone on right on the back of Benny there. But meanwhile, further back behind, Pat losing the position to Big C, and there's more battles going on as Hadler gets by Compassion. So they're all chopping and changing positions throughout the order. And now coming down the straightaway, it looks like the closest gap at the moment is Gonan and Benny, trying to have a look in through to the final corner, but he just can't find a way by, as now Benny has not got DRS on the car ahead of Faz. As now look at the overspeed.
Wow. That looked amazing on my screen. I don't know.
Blunder, and what a move.
That looked amazing on my screen. I think he cut off a little bit, Dan. I do apologise, but yeah, that was just insane from Gonan. He's had a bad start to this race, but you know what? He's going to forget about that and said, I want the podium. I want to try and get as many places as I can, and it's still not over. His tyres are sticking together like glue. He's using so much grip at the moment. The podium could still be there, but don't forget about penalties. All could change. And speaking of penalties, Gonan has just got one, so there goes my jinx there. Sorry, Gonan. I will shut up about Gonan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I accidentally pressed stereo on my phone, so it pretty much cut me out completely there. So that was quite annoying because I was having a lot of fun with that little bit of a battle there. Bugatti luckily has DRS on Greeny up ahead, and actually is not going to allow for Tomato to get the move on him coming into the chicane. He just needs a good run, does Tomato, and he just can't find it against Bugatti, who gets the just a little bit of fractionally better run, and he actually can maintain the position coming into the first couple of corners. So Tomato really is beginning to struggle further back behind though. Benny and Big C having a little fight. Benny lost the position, of course, this time last lap to Gonanen, who's now a little bit further up the road. You could say he's Gonanen up the road to him, as now Big C could maybe try and make a send, but he's way too far back. That would be a bit of a suicidal overtake to make on Benny, but who seems to be really struggling in these conditions. Might have just had a purely wet setup on, and really is causing trouble for him, and it's now Big C right onto the back of him.
Speaking of setups, actually, due to the fact that it was a wet to dry race, I wonder if they've gone for a mixed bag, a mixed dry, mixed wet, because the wet setup around here, around these dry conditions, must be very, very tricky for these drivers. So I'm guessing they just needed to go for the mixed strategy, the mixed setup there, just to get it right. And these guys are experienced in setups, so they're probably good enough in that regard, but some of these guys probably have forgot. Big C tries to go for the lunge into turn 12 on Benny, now into the final corner, turn 13. Here he goes, Big C with the better run into the DRS straight, going to move on the left-hand side into turn 1, and there he goes, Big C, the 7-time world champion, as Benny has had a bit of an off there, but the 7-time PSGL F1 champion is up into 7th place, and he's on a mission to score more points as he possibly can, trying to make sure he stays in the top half of the championship, obviously the top half being first to 10th place. He doesn't want to be at the second half of the standings, I've got to say, but you know what, Big C has been having a lot of fun, I think he said, in PSGL F2 at the moment. Obviously, a lot of his friends are there. Obviously, he's got his teammate Bugatti, who joined him, I believe, in Vietnam as well. So, you know, this could be on for one of his best results of the season if he keeps it up. But he's still got Benny and Pat and Lakitu chasing him up. But be wary of penalties. Just watch out for that.
Yeah, Big C really doing quite well in this Grand Prix, finding himself in 7th position. And Benny luckily does have DRS on Big C up ahead, which is pretty much going to nullify any advantage that Pat might have had. But this is one of the closest gaps on the grid at the moment, and they've all concertinaed up into one place on the circuit. Meanwhile, I didn't even notice this happening. Tomato gets the position. He finally finds a way past Bugatti. He might have just lost the DRS to Greeny up ahead, but now into the podium positions, and ahead of his rivals is Tomato, and he can wrap it all up tonight if he just gets a good result. Bugatti's around. He's lost it at the chicane.
No.
And well, that was we said this earlier about him not making any mistakes, and unfortunately that's what he's done. So he's way down in 13th position, and he might need to come into the pits, get a change of tyres, because they are going to be absolutely gone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, again, we've put on the curse for him. Meanwhile, Lakitu and Pat are having a little bit of a battle as well. Pat has been scoring points consistently in the last 2 races. Can he make it 3 for 3 as they go through the hairpin now? Here's a 4-car battle for potential P6 of this Grand Prix. There was a little bit of a touch between Lakitu and Pat there, but no harm done. I don't think there was damage there, so all is good for Pat. He's going to stay behind Lakitu for the last few laps. But here comes Name Changer all of a sudden. Goes to the right, says thank you very much, you can't get that position done. Here I go, up into 9th. He's going to chase down Lakitu for P8 and still get some points. We've got Lakitu and Benny going side by side. Bugatti is out of the race. He's retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. Oh my god, Name Changer, please do not make it 3 wide. They are going to make it 3 wide. We've got Benny, Lakitu, Name Changer all going for 1 position. And I think Benny had to concede there. And Name Changer has got the move done on Benny up into P8. We've got Pat in for the move as well. Potentially going too wide here. DRS is enabled, don't forget though. So this is the first time we are seeing DRS in this race being used to its full effect. But due to the fact Benny has DRS and so does Name Changer, that's going to put Pat in at a disadvantage. And the track is getting warmer on the circuit due to the sun heating up as well. So the tyres are starting to get a little bit hotter as well. So these guys do need to watch out as the tyres start to get almost beyond their operating window, but for the majority of these guys, they will make it until the end of this Grand Prix. Greeny down in last place, unfortunately, but again, it's still hard for some of the guys to get past, so it may just be a game glitch that Greeny's in third on his end, but 13 on our end, but we'll have to wait and see anyway. But if he's 13th on his end, I believe Tomato won't be champion at the moment because Faz is right behind Tomato, so even though it's 2.6 seconds, but again, penalties, so anything could happen. Tomato, if Tomato's doing all he can, let's see what his championship rivals can do.
Just judging by the fact that they are ghosted between each other, that really does lead me to believe that he is actually a lap down at this point and could lose the position soon.
He is. He's got to be. He's got to be because they're right on top of each other. No collisions right now as well. I could see Greeny's helmet right on top of Tomato's there. What on earth's going on with these two? But yeah, they're probably having a battle our end. We don't know, but they may just be giving a battle for the cameras. As we can see, Tomato is potentially going to get P2 on track anyway on P3 for them. And yeah, there we go. So, oh my God, they're on top of each other as well. Jesus Christ. Hopefully we'll find out what's happened at the end of the race because it's very, very confusing. Meanwhile, CC Brain, he is on course to winning this race. The last time he has won in PSGL F2 was in Japan with the alternate strategy, with the safety car. There was a safety car this race. There was a rain affected, and he's looking on course to getting his second win, and that can push him even higher in the standings. Matching up Will's statistics in the standings, Will getting 2 wins this season. CC Brain can match that as well.
Yeah, at the moment that could be stolen by M Short because he is now within a second of CC Brain. It fell to about maybe 2.5 seconds on the safety car restart, but of course he's just been reeling him in every single lap. And also Tomato, using the DRS that he gained from Greeny, now finds himself within a second of the cars up ahead. So all of these guys coming up towards the same portion of the circuit. They're about 1.3 seconds all separated on circuit at the moment. Lakitu makes a move on Big C as he goes up into 6th position. Really is fond of that position. I just find him always there every single week. He likes being in 6th, and Big C's having more troubles because name change is getting by him, and so is Benny. What's happened to Big C there? He couldn't have had so many positions lost without having some sort of excursion. He's actually got a little bit of wing damage as Connie. He's got quite a bit. He's missing his, I believe, both of his end plates and a bit of the right side main wing.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to potentially lose out on some points here as well. There's 2 battles happening on the circuit. Let's watch Big C and the Racing Point, and look at that. Compassion squeezes past Big C like a magnet. Well done to Compassion. He is up into 11th place in this Grand Prix. Name change is struggling now. He's gone off a little bit. Had a bit of a off there. Don't know what happened there. Pat's up into 9th place now at the moment in this Grand Prix. Could be on course for more points in PSGL F2, which can help Racing Point quite a bit, actually, because Chapolini is out, but reserves do not get points for their constructors anyway. It'll be interesting to see what the constructors' battle is, because obviously Imoti is not here tonight to help his teammate, but the Williams car would be doing well. But obviously the Renault cars both scoring in the top 6 at the moment. That might close the gap between Williams and Renault, and just a little bit more due to the fact that the points could mean anything right now. But M Short, this is insane. He is running in P2 and could be on course to be scoring a win on his F1 debut, on his F2 debut, sorry. How many people would have done that? That is just crazy.
Yeah, well, the certain answer is, just to put it plain and simple, not many, because I can't find any facts about it, and I'm certainly not gonna find everything to do with it. But he's certainly done so well today. Definitely a candidate for driver of the day, of course. Now coming on to the final lap of the Grand Prix very soon. They are all separated by about 1 second. The top 3 here, so they've all conceded up into the same part of the circuit. M Short hasn't got as much reserves as he did earlier on in the Grand Prix, so less to attack CC Brain with, but he's still within 4/10 of the race leader at the moment. Now, as they begin the final lap of the race, DRS has been enabled for M Short, and that is the gap coming in towards turn number 1, about 2.5 tenths. We'll see that come down or go up throughout this entire lap here, as now on the exit of turn number 3, he is just closing up CC Brain little by little. Tomato looking unlikely to get the win here. He can't really overtake 2 cars. Fans completely out of it. So is Gunn, who's had a brilliant recovery actually. So yeah, it's all going to start heating up now.
Bring it on. We were hoping for a final lap battle, and here we are, folks, on the final lap of PSGL F2. 3 cars battling for the lead and 1 car battling for P4 around this circuit as well. So, lap 35, we can see M Short just a little bit further behind, but Tomato is really, really close to M Short. No one can make a mistake. If Tomato makes a mistake, Faz potentially will still be within this championship fight. Gonaden has probably wiped Faz's chance of probably staying in this championship fight, but meanwhile, M Short is going to go for the lunge on the final corner, but he stays behind there to avoid a penalty. Here we go, we're going on to the start-finish straight then. Who's going to take the win? It is CC Brain. Well done to him. A big congratulations to him. We've got M Short in second, Tomato in 3rd place. Oh, Faz in 3rd. Tomato had more penalties. So do you know what this means, Dan? The championship still is fight is alive. It goes to the next round in Austin, Texas next week.
Hooray!
That's what we hoped. But yeah, there we go. Faz, that was a good drive getting. I think he got no penalties there, I think, all of a sudden. But we got Tomato in 4th, Hadler 5th, Lakiti 6th, Benny 7th, Pat in 8th, and the leaderboard has gone off my screen there. But hopefully we'll find out what's happened to Greeny and see what he experienced on his end. Because if he shows 3rd on his end, then something is seriously wrong with the game. But driver of the day on the graphics goes to Faz. Who is your driver of the day, Dan?
My driver of the day, I'm going to give it to M Short because he got a podium on his debut and probably one more lap, and that could have been the win for him. So, you know what, he's going to be my driver of the day. But, of course, I'm not taking anything away from CC Brain. He stands atop the podium, and he has rightfully won this race. Maybe a bit lucky with his teammate having the disconnection and then being put a whole lap down, but hopefully Codemasters, if we might submit this and get this rectified, because that is an absolute steal from Greeny.
That is a little bit of a shame there. If it does show on Greeny's screen that he was last, he's out of the championship, which is heart-wrenching to say the least. And I think it's going to turn into a 2-horse fight. So, Tomato versus Faz for the championship for the final 2 rounds is going to get very intriguing. But I think before Gonanen had his penalties, I would have given driver of the day to Gonanen. But I'm going to give driver of the day. I'm going to go for the boring choice. I'm probably going to go to the winner. He's started 3rd and went on to win, and he pulled off a great masterclass. We've got CC Brain from M Short, from Faz, from Tomato, from Hadler, Lakitu, Benny, Pat, Gonanen, and then Big C rounds up your points. And then we've got Compassion, Name Changer, and then Greeny. And then your non-finishers are Bugatti, Chapalele, and Skivan. Skivan, unfortunately, retiring again. But what a race. I really enjoyed that race. Canada always brings some classics in PSGL, and tonight did not disappoint.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be up there with one of the races of the season, just for how many battles that we had around here. So Canada really didn't disappoint with the mixable conditions. And now we're going to Italy, it seems, if you're still in the session, which is nice.
Yeah, they can't see it, so.
Oh. We're at Italy next.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah. Oh well, I'm actually getting word from Greeny that on his screen he was P3.
Oh.
So exactly the same thing happened to what happened when I was racing on Saturday. So this might get rectified. I think Greeny will probably have to get his race director for proof. It's got to be rectified for sure. And I think we're going to probably report it to Codemasters after the race, because that's unfortunate. Because if Greeny was 3rd, then Greeny would still be in this fight as well. Greeny would still be in the fight as well, because obviously Greeny and Faz both finished ahead of Tomato. So yeah, I hope he gets that rectified, but we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that is unfortunate. But that's not going to take away what a good race we've had in PSGL F2. Make sure you join us same time next week for the United States Grand Prix. Just a quick rundown again of the season 27 calendar before we move over to PSGL F1. So we've got Australia, which is the opening round at the beginning of December, and then the second week of December we got Great Britain for round 2, then we go to Belgium, then we go to France, Monaco, Italy for round 6, and then the start of the second half of the season we've got Russia, then Singapore, then United States, Mexico, Abu Dhabi, and then Japan, because I know a few of you missed the calendar reveal at the start of the stream, so I thought I'll do it at the end of the stream. Sign up information will be revealed after the PSGL F1 stream, so make sure you check the PSGL F1 stream for the race and then check on Twitter after that to find out the dates for sign up. And also check out the F3 stream as well, because they are racing. I think they're going towards the end of qualifying. I've been JessGames95. Thank you, Dan, for joining me in the commentary box as per always.
Yeah, it was great to be here again as always. It's been an incredible Grand Prix and I'm happy to have commentated with you.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week for the United States Grand Prix in Austin, Texas for the Circuit of the Americas. Have a good evening. See you next week, same time. Bye-bye.